There we go. All right, so welcome everyone to the Luminaire and Solaris upgrade class. So the first thing I wanted to talk about with you guys is actually show you a sample done with some of the upgrades we're going to go over today. Here we go.
Ready.
I'm actually going to go full screen. Give me one moment. There we go. So my recording will show this too. But this is done with some of the built-in designs and things like that. So the center is a new design here. Oop, there we go. Oh, wait, nope. There.
Close.
Woo! It's been a day. So this is a built-in design, and then this one here is one of the new hexagon borders. It's a little hard to tell on this. And then, oop, this way. These guys are also new designs that I did at all the corners. So the hexagon shape is kind of, I don't know, there's a lot of hexagon related things that have been added into the machine for those who do hexi quilts and things like that. So they're pretty cool, and we're going to go over where those are. One thing I'm going to ask, by the way, is unless you have a question, please mute yourselves during the class, so that way I don't have any weird sound interruptions or anything going on. And of course, if you have a question, you're welcome to unmute and ask. If you ask in the chat bar, I may not see it, and I may not be able to respond right away.
How do you mute? How do you mute?
So somewhere on your screen should be what looks like a little microphone.
Oh, I see it now. Okay.
And if you do decide to talk over me, or I hear weird sounds like a dog barking or radio, I can mute you as well. It's the most empowering feeling you can possibly have, is getting to mute somebody. So I take great joy in it. But if you guys don't know how to mute, you can always ask and I can mute you as well. Okay, so let's talk about what the upgrade comes with. So when we got our upgrade 1 with the Luminaire and Solaris, it came with a lot of extra doodads, like a hoop, and it came with an extra foot to do the couching embroidery. This upgrade does not. It's a CD case, and it's more in your machine sort of upgrades than physical items. So this includes new hexagon quilting. Of course, there's new designs. There's new built-in designs in the design center, and a bunch of other really great functions that make it a little easier to do a lot of things. There's also some sewing functions like the new stickers that does come in it, and those stickers are probably my favorite. I'm going to show you briefly on the sewing side as well. So what I'm going to do is bring you over to my machine, which is on my cell phone. And what you guys can do is find the screen that shows the sewing machine, and you can click on the little 3 dots and pin the video to the main part of your screen. So that way if someone does ask a question, it doesn't skip back and forth. Or you can have it on speaker view, and that'll show whoever's speaking as the main part of your screen. And if you guys need any help with how to use Zoom across this, please feel free to ask. I'm still learning as I go too, but hopefully I can answer your questions. All right, give me one moment to switch over to my, my phone screen. All right, hopefully you guys can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Give me one moment. Get my chair over here so I can be lazy. Okay, so one thing I want you guys to notice first is that my machine needs an update. If you have not updated your machine in a while and you want to get the upgrade, you do need to update it. There is a certain version, I think it's 3.01 that you need, but I'm going to bring you guys to the home screen and show you what it looks like when your machine is on auto update and you know you need to update it. There we go. So see, there's a picture of the little wireless button, and there's a little exclamation mark. So auto update doesn't mean that it just automatically connects to the internet and updates, unfortunately. It still gives you the opportunity to do that. And those of you who have the Brothers Scan and Cut, it's the same thing. So we're going to click this, and that's going to bring us, sorry about my phone here, to the screen. Zoom in a little bit. And we can do, the auto download is on, and we can update manually. So I can hit load, and what it's going to do is download. Did it download it?
Chelsea, I don't have an exclamation point next to the wireless.
So if you don't have the exclamation mark and you know that there's an update needed, there's another way we can do that, and that is to go into your page settings. I'm going to go to the main page and click on your little wireless symbol. And let's see, I think it's the last page. It'll have your, which is the page I was on, but this will show you the latest version or what version you're at. And you can hit the update manually with the USB and that update put in that you downloaded off the internet if it's not giving you one.
Elsie, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can't see the screen. I can see you and your phone looking at the screen, but I can't see the screen.
Okay, so you got to find the picture. Hold on, I'm moving this of the machine on the. There's a bunch of. Hold on, I got some late people coming in here. There is a bunch of pictures that should be on the top of your screen or side of everyone who's on the Zoom class. You want to scroll through until you see the one that shows the machine. Find the little 3 dots and click on that and say pin this video.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, not a problem. Okay, so once you have your download and you have it loaded in here, even if you did it USB, this one automatically downloaded it, but we still have to install it. So when it has that exclamation mark, it means that it automatically downloaded it. So what we need to do to install it is turn off the machine. And this is something that you guys are gonna have to remember. Hold down your threader while you're turning your machine back on. And this is your update screen. So if you had done it through a USB, you can click the USB button. This is your secondary USB or USB port B, and this is your wireless. So I'm gonna click wireless and hit load, and it's gonna slowly load. And this is installing it, so when this is done, we can turn the machine back on. It may take a while. So while this is doing that, I'm gonna show you guys on the computer. I'm gonna switch back. Sorry to switch back and forth on you guys, but I'm gonna switch back to the computer video. I'm gonna unpin this for a moment. So if you have, oh, hold on, let me mute my other one. All right, so if you have that video pinned of the machine, unpin it for a moment. Actually, it doesn't matter too much. I'm gonna do a quick screen share, and I'm gonna show you guys how to look up your machine and what the updates have. Oops. Let me just get to the page on my computer here. My computer is being incredibly slow. Probably because I'm downloading something. Oh my goodness, give me one moment. I'm sorry it's taking so long. Well, while that's taking forever, how are you guys doing? All right, I'm gonna do a screen share now. Just took a little while. Where is the brother? There it is. Okay, so you guys should see a computer screen now. So what you see is the support.brother.com. And usually what I do if I want to look something up is I just Google Luminaire update, and usually it'll bring me to this page or something where I can click download updates. And this will bring you through kind of all the little steps to download it. So if you don't have an automatic download, or maybe your machine just decided not to do it, then you can always go through this way as well. So I'm going to hit OK, and this is our update software. and talks about when this was released. So it looks like September 24th is when that came out, the 3.05. 3.04 was September 1st. So I'm going to click the update software. Oh, where is my scroll? There it is. And then we want to agree and download. Now here, this is if you need to actually download all of this. But if you hit this little plus button that says update information, let's see, sometimes it tells you, in this case it does not. I'm going to hit agree and download because a lot of times the next page does. I'll just hit save file, that's fine. Okay, so here we go. This will tell you what the updates are if you scroll down after you download it. So worst case, when you hit download, you can just hit cancel and it'll still bring you to the next page if you already have this. But it tells you that this last update was improving the machine's functionality for the LED pointer function of the W plus foot. So usually these little updates are kind of, you know, there's not a lot to them, but the 3.0 update was needed for the upgrade. So just make sure if you are purchasing the upgrade that you have the most recent version installed. But usually these, you know, just help with any little bugs and things like that. But this is to show you guys, again, how to find information on here if you're not sure what the update does. We always have questions, well, what does that update do? And you go, oh. You can also find your manuals on here too. So they're all here and they do update these manuals. Just like the ones inside your machine, they will update them as different updates come out. I'm trying to find, here we go. So this is the embroidery design guide for an example. So if you got the update, or the upgrade, I should say, and you wanted to see what cool new designs come with it, you can. Here we go. So I'm going to show you guys the new pattern book, because you can download this. Stick Muster Catalog. That is an awesome translation. Okay, so we're going to scroll down and this will show you all the new designs. So you can also print these or save them onto your computer. The embroidery catalogs do not get installed into your machine. It's only the regular manuals that get updated on the manual side of your machine. So anytime there's an upgrade and you want to see those new designs, I would suggest downloading this PDF, printing them, putting them in a binder if you want, or just saving them on your computer somewhere. But these are very handy to see some of the new designs. And I'm just going to scroll down. There's a lot of new quilting designs, as you can see. Like this number 38 is what I used on that hexagon. And I wanted to show you guys, oh, that's one of the other ones I used. This number 42 can actually be repeated and turned into a big square. But one of the very exciting new designs are these two. Many of you are probably familiar with the Emily Scott edge-to-edge designs. These are very similar to those, where they have these little left and right lines that connect. And we do happen to have a class coming up on this, and we're going to be talking about these two designs and showing you how they work in the class. But see how they have these little lines here? They actually connect, and you can do edge-to-edge quilting with these designs. Now they're a little bit big. These guys, of course, they only have the millimeter, but they're made for the 9.5 by 14 inch hoop, if I remember correctly, or the big one. So with these designs, you cannot use the new magnetic hoop. That's a question that I've gotten quite a few times. So if you ordered the new magnetic hoop as a bundle from the store or ordered it from another store separate, that hoop is a 7 by 14 and will not work with these two edge-to-edge designs or the majority of the Emily Scott designs. They do have a smaller version in her design package, but they're squished and small. So these are some of the other add-ons just to show you guys here, because it's easier to show you guys this on this screen than on the actual Luminaire. But there's some new buttonholes. I can see you guys are super excited about that. But these buttonholes are some of the new options you can do. They're a lot bigger and a lot smaller because beforehand they really didn't have a variety of sizes for the embroidery buttonholes. So this is actually really, really nice. Maybe I'll use some of these. I have to do some buttonholes. And then these show you how those designs, like they have a corner and line design, how you can combine them. So again, this is a really nice thing to download. Like this is actually really pretty. And you could do border designs and things like that, but it shows you how to combine them in different really eye-pleasing ways. Eye-appeasing, I think that's better wording, and then shows you the edge-to-edge designs as well. Okay, so that was how to access the updated manuals, how to find out what information was added in through your website here, added into your machine, and how to download the update. The upgrade you have to do through a card. I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay, there I am. So the actual upgrade, you get a little card, which I don't think I have anywhere. I probably got rid of mine. But it has a code on side and a website you go to. You go to that website, you click on where you're from. So I assume most of you are from the United States, and you'll click on that. It'll ask you for your code, and pretty much you sit with your laptop near your computer or your embroidery machine, and you'll enter in codes and kind of get it all set between the two. It's really not too bad, but of course, if you need help, that YouTube link I gave a little while ago, there is a full video on how to upgrade your machine with that card that we uploaded for you guys. So if you have any questions on that, feel free to ask, but that video is there for any who has not installed the upgrade. Okay, so we're gonna go back to my machine because that upgrade is complete. I'm super excited. My filibustering worked. So I'm gonna grab my phone here and switch again. So give me one moment. Oh, and make sure that if you guys don't have the screen with the sewing machine pinned, you can always go back and pin that video just to make sure that it stays full screen. Okay, so now we have our update in here, and when you install your upgrade, it'll be kind of similar. It'll let you know it's complete. All we have to do is turn this off and turn it back on again, and that will complete the install. All right, we're just gonna let that do its thing, kind of cycle itself.
Excuse me, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Do they have single run quilting designs in this one now?
Let me look at the ones that I did. I mean, they do. So the I'm looking at a few of them. So the border designs that we're going to go over where you do the actual sashing, those are single run. However, I mean, to show you the back of this, I'm not sure if you guys can see, it does kind of go over, it's like a triple stitch. So a lot of the built-in designs I have found are a little bit heavier, which is why on this sample that I had done, it's with metallic thread, because metallic thread's a little bit thinner. So if you did want to use one of the designs and it's too heavy, I suggest using 100 weight thread. Like I've wound up buying this gigantic spool of Wonderfill Invisifil. And this is 100 weight polyester thread, and it looks really nice on quilts that I don't want a lot of weight on. You can also get silk or cotton that's that same weight if you'd prefer a natural fiber. Or metallic thread also works really well because it is lighter.
Yeah, but they don't have single run designs. Can you create a single run design?
In the design center,
Yeah.
Not exactly. There is a way to, with the upgrade 1, there was a way to take the design, instead of going over each stitch like 5 times, it only goes over maybe 1 to 3, but it's still not a perfect single run.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there are some, and I'm going to show you guys what those are as we go through. Oh, my computer is being weird. Go away. Okay, there we go. I had weird pop-ups on my screen. Okay, so when you do restart it, it gives you the option to read the end user license agreements. And by option, I mean you don't have one. So you're gonna hit okay, and it's gonna go over the terms of use. I know that all of you are gonna definitely sit there and read these 4 pages with full excitement, word for word. But if you wanna just close it instead of reading through, just hit close. One way you know that the upgrade is done is there's no exclamation mark over here, or I should say update. And if you click on it, it'll let you know that the new update is installed and gives you the latest version. And if you're connected to the internet and you have your computer your embroidery machine, same thing at this point, connected to the internet, it will let you know that you are up to date. So if you do not have this connected, I really suggest it. It's going to make it a lot easier for you to know when updates come out, because they really don't tell you when an update comes out. You just kind of notice the exclamation mark. Okay, so let's go over some of the new things. The first thing I'm going to show you guys is where the new designs are located, which is under section 1 here. This is in our embroidery screen. And if we, whoops, geez, I'm going to hit all the wrong buttons here. There we go. So if I scroll this over, there is a new section here called number 15. Let's move this a little closer so you guys can see. And it's got pictures of lemons. Ooh. Well, I tried to make that better and just made it worse. There we go. So there's little lemons here, and if you click on that, that's where all of your designs are. I can move my little arrow up here, and you can see full screen. And you know, some of these, there was one on here, I think this one I used as a quilting design. It has little ginkgo leaves. That one's a very heavy design, so a lot of these you may want to test before you use them as quilting. I didn't know if that was a single run or, you know, but it wound up being a very heavy stitch. So some of these I would test. These two are supposed to be single run designs. I am not sure about this one. I know this one went over a couple times, so I would test them. And unfortunately, it doesn't really tell you in that catalog I just showed you. It doesn't really say single run or triple stitch or whatever the stitch type is. It just shows you an illustration of it, so it's a little hard to tell. So I always suggest testing a stitch if you don't know what it looks like. As an example of why, I had done a really cute wall hanging and decided to try to quilt it with an Anita Good design that said it was a quilting design. It wound up being a really heavy chain stitch, and even though it looked like it was not, and it was so thick and heavy, I threw it in the machine and walked away. That was my decision to make, to walk away. And when I got back, it was so thick, I couldn't even seam rip it. So I gave up and tossed it. So, you know, you don't want to put things on your quilt without knowing what they are, for the question of the single run. But these are the new designs. They're very cute. There's a bunch of them. I know that's usually what people are not excited about as much with new designs. So I'm going to just throw this design in the screen. Okay, so in here, there's not really any changes between this screen and the next. The update that we just did, that W plus foot, I'm going to go over what that is, because a lot of people don't know. So give me 1 minute. I'm just going to drop everything. Here we go. We're going to see my whole machine now. Give me 1 moment. I decided to drop my tripod at one point, so now it doesn't want to stay. So this is a pillow that I was working on. I had one of those cute little pillow covers. So I'm going to show you guys what the W plus foot is, because the update that we just installed does a little bit with that. And what that is, if you on your screen, I'm going to bring this over to the screen. There we go. So there's a W plus button right here, and if I click on that, it actually will, let's see if we can see it. Do you guys see that little, right there? Hard to tell, but it actually projects a little plus sign onto your fabric. So if you, for an example, were using a snowman sticker and it just wasn't working, it wasn't scanning, just, I don't know, something was going wrong and it didn't work very well, you could actually use that W plus foot instead. And all it did was just kind of update it so it worked a little bit better. That was the update, but I wanted to show you guys what that was. So that was it on that. Not very exciting. I'll leave that there for right now. There weren't really any changes inside the embroidery screen either that I remember. It's been a little bit since I've taught this. So the big updates besides the designs were in the design center. So I'm going to go over there next, and then we're going to finish off with sewing. There we go. All right, we're going to go back to home, design center. So I'm going to throw a shape on the screen here. And I'm going to add a design. I'm going to add a fill. I'm going to bring you guys over to my screen so you can see it. There we go. I'm going to click this fill button. And what you're going to see here under the circles is a bunch more designs. So pretty much how these work is if you had the Dream Machine with upgrade 1, you had 10 designs. Or sorry, 9 designs. You had these 9. If you had upgrade 2 on the Dream Machine, you had 12. Actually 15. You had 15. If you had the Luminaire, you had 30. And then you had 36 if you have just upgrade 1, and then 42 if you have upgrade 2. So these guys are all of our new designs. They're really pretty. So I'm going to click on the circles and hit OK, because I really like that one. And I'm just going to fill that in. So some of the new changes on the Design Center are in this screen. So I'm going to go to my random shift. Now, random shift on its own, if you don't have the upgrade, there's no type A here. This is new. It gives you different shift options. And what the shift means is that when I go into here, we'll go all the way, we'll go to 3. It actually is going to shift these little, see how it squishes them? I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it kind of squishes them and makes them look more like pebbles. And if I go back in here and I can change it to B, it's going to shift in a different location. So see, now it's stretched kind of lengthwise, and then there's also type C. So you can kind of play with this and see which shifty version you like the best. But that was one of the changes here, was the random shift. And by the way, what we were talking about earlier with the upgrade 1, this little button down here on the bottom that has the little black circles, if you click on that, you can do a thicker or lighter fill. So I just wanted to point that out. This one typically did around 5 times of stitching over the same line. This one does 1 to 3. It's still not a single run, but it is a lot better than it was. There we go. So that was some of the big changes. I'm going to hit return. In our stitches, there were not any new stitches added in, but for those who have had upgrade 1, I just wanted to go over this really quick. For the stitches, oh, I didn't actually apply any of the stitches. We'll go into here and change it here. There was the option to do a flip, which is here. And they did kind of make it a little bit easier to do a flip. There was an update to that not too long ago because it was still a little glitchy. And what the flip does is, you see how this is on the outside right now? I'm going to hit flip and it should, there we go, now it's on the inside. So that's just something I wanted to mention because part of the update was to kind of make that a little less, some of the stitches did not line up nicely, so it fixed it. Okay, let's go back.
Hey, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Chelsea, you're going a little fast for me. I'm having trouble keeping up, locating the things in the machine.
Oh, okay. Did you want me to repeat anything?
Where do I find the stitches?
Okay, so, oop, I hit the wrong button. Inside the Design Center, your stitch button is right here. Oops, hold on. There we go. Right here on the top is your stitches, and you can click right on the stitch button.
Okay, hang on. All right, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, and the extra ones are under the flower. So, and there's 10 of them. Okay. Let's go back on. All right, so one other thing, sorry to skip around, I forgot about the really cool quilting stitches that are added in. So I'm going to close this up a little bit. You see the cue for quilting? This originally came out in upgrade 1, but what they did is they added on a couple more shapes. I'm going to see if I can try to flip this. Is this going to, there we go, it's a little bit better. Sorry, it's like watching like the Blair Witch Project here, trying to get me to close up on the screen. So there's a couple different shapes they added in. The hexagon, of course, we talked about. These are all the new sashing designs that were added in. And then there's also these smooth cornered squares. So they work, in my opinion, the same idea as a regular square. They're just, you know, some added designs. They're very nice. Like this one looks like grapes to me. I think it is supposed to be grapes, but it's very pretty. And these are the hexagons. The hexagons are a little more lengthy because of how they have to break it up to go around the corners. Oh goodness, sorry, I'm trying to show the screen, probably just making you guys dizzy. Let me see if I can put this down. My light, of course, is reflecting just awful. I apologize about the reflection. Oh, my screen. Nope, that made it worse. That's a little better. All right, so I'm going to click on one of these guys and show you. Let's do this one. And I'm going to hit set. And this asks at this point what size your design is. So if we were taking our hexagon, you are going to measure from the inside top here to the bottom. So I don't remember what measurement I had used for mine, but you're just going to measure it and you're going to be as close as you can. We're going to pretend that this is 8 inches and hit set. Our next one is how wide our sashing is. I usually like to do a little bit less than, like, if I have 2.5 inch sashing and then with it sewn on either ends, you're left with about 2 inches. I like to give a little bit less because that way it won't fill up the whole sashing. So we'll do 1.9. And then lastly, you can choose what size hoop you want to do. In this case, it's the largest hoop. I mean, if you have it, great. But if you have a magnetic hoop you want to use, and that, you know, it's going to be easier for you to use that. For example, there we go. I only have a 9.5 by 14 inch magnetic hoop for my Luminaire. So I'm going to set it to that size and hit next. What it does is it breaks it apart to all of these designs. Now, I know it says 12 pieces in here. That does not mean you need to rehoop it 12 times. Usually this one and then this one can be done in the same hoop and so on. So it's only about 6 and they're very quick. These are single run. Oh, hold on, get someone joining class. There we go. So these are all single run. They take maybe a minute or 2 each. So it's very quick, very easy. So, you know, I suggest to try it, you know, maybe do a little placemat or something and see how you like it. But this is that. Now, when you are done, it's all set up. You hit memory. It's going to let you know that it was saved into your machine data. Give me one moment, guys. Computer things going on. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK, and it's going to bring me to where that data is saved. So this is my machine's pocket. I'm going to click on that design, and I have 3 different options. And one here is my straight line, one's my corner, and then actually, sorry, corner and straight line. See how, I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's actually a C, it has C times 6, and then it has S times 6. C means corner, S means straight. And then this says 12. I'm gonna try to move that a little closer so you guys can see. And I don't know why my screen's shaking. Oh, look, that seems to have helped. Okay, so when I do these, that means it's gonna do just these 2 designs. It's not gonna actually bring me step by step through the process. So if you're doing the whole hexagon, you want to click this one, not the little separate ones. These separate ones are great though. So if you have, let's say you're doing a big quilt and you have the big rectangle design set up, you do the whole outside sashing and you wanted to fill some of the inside sashing, that's what those designs are for. They're extra. Or if maybe thread came up and you didn't realize it until you were done, you can always put it back in, scan it in, and line these guys back up and redo it. So that's why they give you those. We're going to click on this hexagon. If you notice, it doesn't bring up the hexagon. It brought up a design, just a singular one. Okay, that's fine. We're going to hit set. And the reason why it brings up that singular design is because that's what it starts with. And this shows you exactly what you want to do, what you want to hoop up. right where my light reflection is. So it shows you that you want to hoop up the corner of your hexagon centered in your hoop. I'm going to hit OK, and then what this is going to do is allow you to adjust. It actually projects this design onto your hoop, which of course I don't have. It's really hard to show projections on the camera, so I'm not going to show you. There is a video on YouTube, again with that YouTube link I gave you, on how to do this in depth right on our YouTube. But this will project it, and you're just going to take it and place it in that area. And then when you're done, you stitch it out. And it walks you step by step. So don't be scared to try this. It's really easy. The square ones are, come on. Yes, I do want to go home. The square ones are just as easy. And there's, of course, all these really nice new ones here. And now the square ones, you have two different options for type of split. You can do a 4 split, which this one means that you really can't do that big of a design. You can only go up to about 20 inches by 30 inches. So if you have a small item, this only splits it 4 hoops. So it's a little easier to do a smaller item this way. Or you have the multi-split, which is this one, which will be as many times. And I believe that one goes up to, it's 120 inches by 120 inches for a quilt size. So that's pretty big to do your sashing. So, and this is the same thing when you design it, you put in, you have 2 measurements to put in this time, your horizontal measurement, your vertical measurement, and then of course your sashing width. So this has 3 different measurements where it's only 2 with a hexagon. All right, does anyone have any questions about the sashing function? I know I didn't show you guys with an actual quilt, but I promise it is very straightforward. Okay. So one of the other things is the new buttonholes, and those are all located, and go back to home, in embroidery. And then, oh, did my screen freeze? No, it didn't. Okay. And under number 5. And there is a bunch of different buttonholes for you to choose from. So when you click on it, of course, I need to pull back my camera a little bit. This pops up on the bottom, and you can scroll through all the different sizes. So extra small, which it actually tells you on the top too what size it is. So extra small, for example, this buttonhole is 0.31 inches in height and 0.59 inches in length. The next one up is 0.31 inches in height, 0.91 inches in length. And then it's, 2 inches in length, 3 inches in length, 4 inches in length, and that's as large as it goes. So you have, it's a lot easier than trying to sit there and resize them manually like you used to have to do. So that is the new buttonholes. If you guys have never tried this, embroidery buttonholes are really easy to do. You just line them up, and I find it easier than the sewing machine buttonholes, which are also surprisingly easy. And then of course you can add on all these pretty decorations that go around your buttonhole. So you can make them really fancy looking. And then these, in case you were curious, this last button on the screen, if you've never touched it, are actually sewing machine stitches built in that you can embroider. Which includes, by the way, this group of stitches right here, 48 through 56. These are all single run, very large stitches that work great for sashing. So, definitely explore some of these stitches because they are a single run and they can help you quilt your design. Okay, that is the exciting world of buttonholes. Let's see, I think next is gonna be sewing. All right, let me grab some of these stickers to show you. All right, so these are your very exciting stickers, and they look like little bullseyes. The way that these guys work.
But he failed to clean the barn. What do you think?
Oh, yep, somebody needs to mute. Give me one moment because I just got to grab my sewing foot. And I was in my Dream Machine box, not the Luminaire. There it is. All right, let me just change out my foot. And typically we would change out bobbin case and needle, but I'm not going to do that at the moment because it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so to show off how this works, I have this nice piece of fabric, and I'm going to actually bring this back a little bit. So how many of you remember those lovely pens that we used to have where you could click on the fabric where you wanted it to stop stitching with a decorative stitch? And it was kind of exciting, but you could only go so far out. Let's do this one. So unfortunately, you could only go so far out with that stitch. And so, you know, you really couldn't plan for it, you know, yards down your fabric. So if you wanted to go down a huge quilt and do a sewing stitch, it's a little bit hard if it's not going to be anywhere near, you know, this is much longer than your plate. And originally you had to use the pen and it had to be a certain distance away from your plate. You had to click it and click it again and let it know you want the stitch to stop. This is much easier. So there we go. So it's under your settings. I'm going to bring you guys closer to my screen again. Okay, so your settings button is this top right. It's got a little pen and shows the stitches. And when you click on that, at the bottom of that setting is this little circular thingy with a line and an arrow. To be honest, when I look at that, I don't see stop sewing. I just see a weird symbol. But if you click on that, give it a moment, there it goes. It's called your endpoint setting. And it shows you that it wants to stop right at that circle. And you have the option of doing the stitch and have it stop in between, or for some decorative stitching, you'll have the option to squish those stitches. In this case, we don't have the option because of the type of stitch it is and the way it stitches, so it just gives us the option to do it regular. That's fine. So what's going to happen now, I'm going to actually back this up so you guys can see me sewing. I'm going to put my foot down, and we're going to start sewing. So just so you guys know, when it comes to a really large design and you squish it, it will be a little bit noticeable because it only squishes it from the point that it senses that sticker. So if you are doing the squish, keep that in mind. Most really busy designs, you can't tell. One thing too is you want that sticker to not be exactly in line with your stitching. You don't want it to stitch over the sticker. And it's hard to tell, but there's actually this huge line that's the same length as your usual 4-inch screen. You can see the screen being projected. The line goes across the screen of where it's sensing where that sticker is. So that sticker can be anywhere within that screen and still be sensed. And look, it's starting to get into the area. So I'm going to stop this and I'm going to show you what's happening. It's a little hard to tell, but there's a blue line now that is saw my sticker. And there's actually a gray dot that is being projected over that sticker. So it sees it, and now once it sees it, and you can see it's just starting to stitch inside the projection area, it'll start to squish the stitches if I had it set up that way. And now I'm going to start. I know, this is really exciting. It's almost there. And there we go. And it stopped. So you can put that sticker anywhere on your quilt and sew for quite a while and it'll automatically stop. There we go. And I can cut my threads, or I could back stitch, and there we go. So as you can see, it stopped. I think I was sewing this way, so it stopped a little bit diagonal, but it stopped exactly where that dot is. So this is like a snowman sticker, but for sewing. So to show you guys, let's find a decorative stitch that we can squish. let's see here. Now, if I remember right, not all of these stitches are usable with that function. So just, you know, keep an eye out. Some of them will have that button, the stop point button grayed out. So this is one we can squish. So I'm going to get that set up and let's put this on the machine. I'm going to show you guys what that looks like of how it, oops, geez, throwing the camera all around. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I'm going to throw this on here. I'm going to throw it a little bit closer and we're going to have it sew down and I'm going to show you guys the difference in regular stitches and then how it squishes. I'll speed it up a little bit so it doesn't take forever.
Chelsea, I have a question.
Sure.
What is the purpose of that? If you're sewing, wouldn't you just stop anyway? I guess I don't understand that.
Some people like to use the button, so it's a little harder to control when to stop and start exactly. And sometimes, you know, maybe you're doing the top of a pocket or something and you want it to stop exactly on that seam and you don't want to leave it up to human error. Some people get really excited about this button, some don't. It all depends on your sewing style. Okay, so it's a little hard to tell because, of course, I did it on patterned fabric, but it did squish the bottom part of these designs slightly. It's very hard to tell, though. A, it's on patterned fabric. Actually, you might be able to tell a little better in the back. Not even, really. It's hard to tell on this one. So it squished it a very slight amount, but it stopped with a perfect, you know, flower on either side. So the squishing function, I think, is more what people look for when it comes to this particular sticker, because then you can have a perfect stitch from start to stop, rather than you know, you know, half a stitch. You know, especially with some of these really wild decorative stitches that you want it to look nice. And usually the squishing is fairly minimal, so it's hard to see, but sometimes, you know, you may want to test it to see if it's going to make it different. There was one design I had done and I had squished it in a way that the last inch you could tell, but it all depends on the stitch. So again, something to play with. Yeah, they add a lot of things to these machines, and it doesn't mean that you specifically may use them. They add a lot of different options because many different people use these machines and many people sew differently. So yeah, there we go. Okay, does anyone have any questions on that stitch function?
Chelsea,
Yes.
I use that for applique, that function for applique, because if I'm going around the corner, I want it to stop exactly where I want it to stop, and then I go around to the other side. So I use that
that's
function.
a great idea. Yeah, because then you could get the perfect little like stitch bite into the corner. So that's a great idea.
Yes.
Okay. Give me one moment. All right, so I'm going to open it up to questions for a moment. So I'm just going to make sure that I didn't miss anything in my manual here. So you guys are welcome to ask questions while I'm taking a quick look. I have a list of everything I have to go through, so I just want to make sure that I went through everything. Oh, okay. There's one function I did not go over. So I'm going to go into our embroidery screen, and that is density. Hold on. There we go. So I'm going to throw a design on here, which I need to actually show you guys the screen for this to work. I knew there was something in the embroidery screen I was forgetting. Okay, so when you hit edit and you do a stipple stitch or something around your design, let's do a, see if I can get a smaller one in there so I don't have this huge. There we go. Oh, is it gonna let me use it? There's a density button, and that is new. It's for your background scans. So I'm gonna grab, a hoop real quick. In one moment, and we'll show you guys how to change the background. All right, so let's say you're going to be placing something onto a design. I still have my sewing foot on there. All right, so I'm going to do a quick background scan. All right, so one thing that's new on this is your background scan density. So right now this is pretty bright. You can see it's very bright. I can actually come to the other side here. I can lighten this. This button right here is new. Let me close up so you guys can see. So I can make the design darker in the background or lighter. So that is one of the new functions on embroidery. And I had added in a stipple stitch because I was going to show you guys how to ungroup and how to change the order of sewing. This is a cool new feature as well. So I'm going to ungroup it first. So I got to click this, then go into my little bottom circle, square, triangle button, and I'm going to just hit that so it's all ungrouped. And now I can click this button.
Chelsea, I completely lost you. You have to slow down again. Back up some, please.
Okay, did you need me to add the stippling part or just start from the grouping?
The grouping, I'm trying to follow you.
Okay, so I'm gonna regroup it then. Give me a moment. Okay, so when you add stipple stitching to a design or any of the built-in quilting, it automatically groups the design with the quilting. So we're gonna go into the ungroup. This pretty much deselects everything at once, but then you still need to make it select the items individually. So at the bottom of your screen is a square, circle, triangle. And then you're going to click the one that doesn't have all the little red selections on it and hit OK. And now it has singular, so I can select my middle design or my stipple. This bottom button here is now ungrayed out. I can use it, and I can click on that and actually change the order in which these sew. So I can move this up and have the stippling done first, which I know many of us would prefer the quilting to be done first and then the embroidery, or the opposite.
Chelsea, I'm sorry, I lost you again.
Okay, so did you see the ungrouping, or do you want me to repeat that?
I lost the ungrouping.
Okay, so let me regroup, and I'm going to do this one more time.
I'm back to the ungrouping.
Yep, I'm back there now. I'm going to show it one more time, but this is why I provide the video, so you guys can always watch, because I have a lot to go over and only a couple hours to do it. So worst case, if there's anything that any of you missed, you can always go back to the YouTube video and watch it as well. Okay, so this is all grouped. There's two buttons to ungroup it. This first one here is a circle, triangle, or sorry, circle, square. I know my shapes. We're going to click that. There we go. And that's your first step. That tells it you want to ungroup. Then on the bottom of the screen is a square, circle, triangle.
Yep.
Click that one and then click the white shapes, and that will completely ungroup it. And you can say okay. And that's it.
It won't let me ungroup it.
Do you have more than one item on your screen?
Just the, no.
Okay,
Just
so
the same design that you have there.
do you have the stippling?
Yes.
Is this button grayed out, or is that button able to be hit, the bottom one here?
Okay, I hit that one.
Okay, so then it was ungrouped.
Oh, okay.
So now, so back into the changing the order of design. Let's say you loaded in a bunch of designs that you purchased and you want them to be layered differently. You can do that here now. This is a new function. It's really cool, and I can change that order. And I can also reset it. So if I mess it up and I want to undo everything I just did, I can hit reset. But that is a really cool function. Okay, I'm gonna put my phone down for a second and review my list again. Did anyone have any questions about the order function?
Oh, I get it.
Okay, so apparently there's another function. I'm gonna, let's see here. Oop, no, I don't want to delete that one. Let's delete the stipple. And since we ungrouped it, that's pretty easy. This is another function that, my gosh, I completely forgot to mention. You know that the decorative fill patterns are now in the screen, in your regular embroidery screen, and it'll automatically add it around your design. I think that's really cool. And I can hit select, and I can go through. Let's do one of the new designs. What are the leaves? All right, and then we can, oops, change the design size here too, just like with the stippling and everything else. Sure, we'll leave it a 5 by 7. And I can change the distance away from the design, which I would suggest for decorative fills, if you leave it less than a 0.02, I think it is, it actually will stitch over your design a little bit. And you can also change the size of your fill right up here. It again, just like in Design Center, goes up to 200% and down to 50%. But this is a new feature. If you've not played with it, it's really, really fun because you can easily do these decorative designs now and quilt your whole quilt in a, one step rather than having to go into Design Center, scan in your design, make the shape, all that stuff that we've done in classes before. It's all now here. So does anyone have any questions on that part?
Chelsea,
Yes.
what screen is that in?
Oh, let me get out of here for a moment. It's on, let me turn off this background scan because that's going to drive me nuts. It's on your regular edit screen in your embroidery side.
So you would just pull up your new design that you want to do and then go into edit?
Yep, edit, and then the little button that usually is for stippling.
Has all the other fills.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Not a problem. I think that's probably one of the best parts about the update, and that's funny that I forgot that on my list. So the other thing I want to show you is another way. Speaking of shapes, I'm going to grab a big font design. Doesn't matter which one. You want one that has an opening. Let's do D. No, no one has a. Let's choose one of these crazy Greek fonts. So one of the functions with our shape design, so we used to be able to go into our edit screen and create a shape off of our design and bring it into the Design Center and create either a new pattern or embroidery. But originally, if we clicked our little flower here at the bottom of the screen, it would only let you do the outside of the shape. This is another new function where it allows you to do inside and outside, although apparently it's only selecting the applique on line, the actual stitching, instead of the inside of the shape, because it is an applique stitch. But it allows you to collect an inside and outside as well. So that is another new feature. I haven't played with this much, but it's, again, another nicer feature on the shape making. And then once I hit memory, it's going to be in my Design Center stamp pattern list. And then you could go to Design Center, hit your stamps, and open up that design and create it into something different. But that is your shape, I guess they call it, you know, stamp pattern maker. I call it shape pattern maker. Okay, let me just make sure. Oh, that's right. There's a whole new app. All right, how many of you have installed the first app for Luminaire and Solaris for watching your stitching? So that way, if your thread breaks and you're doing dishes, you can go, oh, hey, great, and go into the room and rethread your machine. There's 2 different apps that you can install now for your machine. One of them is the, I don't remember the name of it. It's like My Stitch Monitor, I think. I think it's My Stitch Monitor, and I forget the name of the Baby Lock version. But it's really great for your Luminaire, and I will look up the name on my phone. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Nancy, My Stitch Monitor. I was right, yay. I forget the Baby Lock name, it's slightly different. So if anyone needs me to look that up, I will. But that's the main one that came with your machine, where you can monitor your stitching as you go. It's also really handy because if you pull up a design, you get the thread list on your phone, and then you can go down to the store and be like, hey, Schillers, I need to order a whole ton of thread, and read off that list. So, yep, and the new one, thank you, Nancy, for introducing my subject for me through chat. The new one is called My Design Snap. So for the lesser machines, I guess I shouldn't call them lesser machines, but the machines that are below the Luminaire, they had an app where you could take a picture of something and use that to bring it into the Design Center. And it sounded kind of, you know, cool. And a lot of Luminaire owners were like, hey, I paid a lot more money for my machine. Why don't I get that option? That's a part of the upgrade now. So My Design Snap is something that you can install for free. And what you can do is you can select an image that's saved into your phone, or you can take a picture of your hoop with the item in it if you want to scan in what you have hooped up. So you can do that for pattern positioning, or even take a picture to edit a pattern. So you can do all sorts of cool things with this app. Really, what I suggest is just download it and play with it. The picture one is really nice, the select image for pattern editing, because then let's say you're out at the store and you see this coloring book and there's one photo in the coloring book that you're like, man, I kind of want to embroider that. You could take a picture of it. Or maybe you see a sign that just, I don't know, inspires you somehow. Take a picture of it and bring it home to your machine. And so I'm going to go to our Design Center again. So to scan in, you're going to hit your flower button, the little, it's not a flower, it's a fern. And you have your image scan. And you'll notice that there's different ways to import. And the wireless, I believe, is the one that works with the phone. Unfortunately, my phone is now my camera, so I can't actually, you know what, I'm gonna switch back to my computer so I can show you guys how this works. So give me one moment. All right, let's see if I can. Whoa. Sorry about that, echoing. Okay, so I'm going to exit out of Zoom on my camera here, and I'm going to show you guys. So this is my cool phone. I have My Design Snap down there at the bottom. I even have a perfect picture, which you can't see. Oops, as I drop it. So this is a really nice picture that I stole from my children. And I'm going to take a picture of it, just with my regular phone camera. Ugh, there's so much shadowing in my room here. Let's try that. And then I'm going to go into that Design Snap, select image for editing. it opens up my camera and I can select an image. And it's loading, and I can hit send to machine. And it is now sent to the design center. So I'm gonna quickly go back in. Come on. Hold on, I may have to try this a couple times. Give me one moment, make sure I did this right. Oh, you know what? No, it should be under image. Oh, there it is. It popped up. Okay. So you're gonna click your wireless and then that pops up. I can click right on the design and hit set. And then that will be an image scan that I can play with. So this is, in this case, this is a background scan. You can also do different things like that. So there's the image for pattern editing, so I can sit there and trace that. There's a snap capture with frame for pattern editing, which means if you have something pooped up, then you can add and trace around it, and also the pattern positioning as well. So I haven't played too much with the app. I just got it installed, but it's something I suggest playing with. You can take pictures of items, take pictures of your quilt, and play with designs on it even, and kind of, you know, see what looks nice. So that is the new app. And they're pretty easy to install. You can just look it up right on the App Store or you know, shopping or whatever you have for your phone. Whew, I think that is everything. I went through my list and there doesn't seem to be anything I'm missing. So I'm going to stop recording and then I'm going to ask you guys to feel free to please ask any questions on the subject, because there's probably a lot of questions. I went through a lot of things fast. Again, this video will be, I'm going to email you guys the YouTube link to that same admin email that I emailed the Zoom link to. If you don't get it, you can always email schillersontheweb@gmail.com and I can email it through there as well. So let me